Welcome to my channel. Why did you start your business? Why did you register a company? Why did you start a partnership or even trade as a sole proprietor? A number of factors often fall into this, a number of answers that I've received. Sometimes it's a push factor. You've been working somewhere and the situation was so tense you had to get out. Sometimes it's a pull factor. You felt you were not appreciated, you could do better out there, and you could be better off working for yourself. Whatever the reason, every person gets into business to make a profit. Everyone wants to ensure that they are able to make money on their product or on the services that they are providing. A product is usually something tangible, whilst a service is an intangible item that you are providing. In other words, like we provide tax and accounting services, that is a service. If we were selling petrol, that would be our product. And sometimes it's perishable, other times it's non-perishable. So depending on what you are doing, make sure you have a costing model in place. Ensure that you know your cost price for buying the product. You must know whether you're being charged VAT or not by your suppliers. Suppliers are creditors, and that's where we buy our products from. Ensure that when you factor in all other costs, in order for you to sell the product, you are still able to mark up and make enough of a profit to run your business. Don't forget your own salary, salaries of others, and other overheads such as electricity, your Wi-Fi, your telephone, your petrol, your own time is a cost that needs to be factored in. Make sure your costing model does not put you in a position where you're making a loss, selling at a loss, and therefore not making any money to retain in the business and to make it worthwhile. Let me warn you though, should you make a profit, and if you are not what we call a small business corporation, you will need to pay taxes. Corporate income tax, which is what we call CIT in South Africa, is at 27% of the profit. That is for a normal business, and especially if you have more than one company. Then there are no special dispensations. It's simply the 27%. Now, you must submit your return, and based on the return, you then pay the tax. As I've said in previous videos, you're submitting your provisional tax return first, where you're estimating your profit and paying halfway through the year. Then in your final tax return, after doing your financials, you then pay the full amount of tax that is due to SARS. Should you make a loss for any reason, for instance, your expenses have been higher, you've got depreciation on many vehicles, whatever the reason is, if you are not in a profitable position, then you're not required to pay any tax. You simply reflect your loss and you move on to the next year. You are allowed to carry forward what we call assessed losses for 5 years to 6 years. In other words, if you've made a loss this year and the following year you've made a profit, you wouldn't pay tax on the full profit. They would first take into effect the loss brought forward from the previous year, and you would then pay tax on a lower profit. Join me as I discuss these and many other topics on my channel. Please like the channel, subscribe, and become a constant viewer.